What is up, everybody? It's Madlibs, and that's right, after almost 2 months of not uploading any regular videos, focusing on Rupert's Cove and all the Halloween videos, I am finally back with another episode of the series that you guys wanted me to get back on, Awful OCs. Now, if you've never seen any of this before, Awful OCs is the series where I show you guys my terrible characters from back when I was edgy and thought I was the greatest writer in the world. And we all just kind of laugh at them together. Now that all that's been said, I won't keep you guys waiting any longer. Let's get on with this next episode of Awful OCs. Now, in the past, I've told you guys about these two dumpster fires of main characters, Rose and Mark. Two parts of the secret agent team that work at... Oh, I hate saying this. WPC, the World Protection Corporation. That name will never get easier for me to say. And in both of their stories, I mentioned this man, this beautiful man, the one who completes the holy trinity of terrible, absent-minded, overly thought-out, and confusing story writing. Butch. Yeah, I know, his name fucking sucks. His original name was supposed to be Bruce, and I don't know why I changed it to Butch, because saying it out loud just makes me regret all of my decisions. Now, this guy right here, he's actually very special, because this man was how I tried to make lore. That's right. Because of him, Code Red went from a pile of shit to a spiderweb of shit, where everything is tangled and connects in places that it shouldn't, but also has a lot of gaps that make no sense. And if you walk in and see it, you're just gonna go, ugh, and try to get it away and out of your house as quickly as you possibly can. Yeah, that's what it went to. But before we get to all that, I have to describe his character, which won't take very long, because aside from looking like a white scene Nick Fury, he's also got no personality. Now, Butch was basically the leader of the team. He was, the rock that kept Mark and Rose from going nuts all over the place, and knew everything about WPC since he had been there the longest. That was supposed to be his role in all of this. Now, his personality was, he was a nice guy, and he helped people and had a machete. That's pretty much it, basically. He was just a blank slate character. He was like the girl in sitcoms who's just the one that goes, "You guys shouldn't do that," and then they do it anyway, and then they're like, "Oh, you did that." That's pretty much who he was. But hey, he was also a serial killer, so that's interesting, right? Yeah, I actually made him some kind of like psycho murderer who wants to kill people and is just so evil and violent. There really was no reason for it. I just threw it in because I thought that like he needed something interesting about him, and I thought that like, oh, what if he's secretly likes to murder? That's good. I'm gonna put that in the story. Honestly, the only other somewhat interesting thing was his relationship with this girl named Skyla. I was just on a roll with shitty names in 2012. Basically, their relationship went that she really liked him, but he never picked up on it. It wasn't really even a relationship thing. It was just a running joke. Like, she said something that couldn't possibly be taken any other way, and he takes it another way. I had this one bit where, like, they're at a party, and she just sits on his lap, and he's just like, "Oh, do you want me to move?" And she's like, "Oh, no, I want to sit right here." And then he's like, "Oh, okay." And then he gets up and gives her his seat. And then there was a whole other bit where her younger brother was really defensive about, her being with guys. So he constantly thinks that Butch is hitting on her when he's not. And he's just like, you stay away from my sister or else. That was it, really. And of course they get together in the end anyway, because everybody has to have, somebody to be with, because that's how life is all the time. And she was basically his main relationship after I got over the whole gay thing where I shipped him and Mark, despite the fact that Mark was supposed to be 15 and Butch was supposed to be 18, which, like, back then I didn't think it was too weird because I was like, oh, it's only a 3-year age difference, which isn't, I guess, that bad. But looking back on it now, that's really weird. That's like a senior dating a sophomore. Like, it's better than them dating a freshman, but it's not by much. And I didn't even like it because of their, like, chemistry or nothing. I was just like, oh my god, gayness, because I explained this in the last episode, but, like, every sort of nerdy girl, or if you ever went through that, like, nerdy anime kind of phase, goes through this other smaller phase where anything gay is automatically amazing just because it's gay. It's basically fetishizing. It's really gross and weird. A lot of people go through it. I went through it. Ugh, do not want to look back on that. I made everybody basically gay. I made this guy gay. This guy right here who looks like a void of eternal darkness. He was gay as fuck just because I wanted to have some gayness in there. Don't know how he's gonna be gay because he don't got a dick and he don't got any lips. I don't understand what I was thinking. That is not the point of this episode. I'm gonna get back on track. We're gonna move on to my attempt at lore, which kind of intertwines with his backstory. Because, like this guy over here, he had multiple backstories. But the difference is that with this guy, I picked one and I stuck with it. Or whenever I did change something, it shifted like the rest of the story. You know, it was an entirely new backstory. I didn't tack on like 8 backstories like I did with this guy. With this guy over here, I just smashed all the stories together and called it the world's lore. Let's start off with his origin story. I'm going to explain this in a very basic way because it only gets more complicated as I add more detail, so here we go. Basically, there was this scientist man, right? And he had some research for bringing the dead back to life. Things didn't go so well. So, you know, actually he has 2 versions. In one of the versions, he like brings a child back to life and then just kind of keeps it. And then in a different one, he steals a child. His backstory doesn't matter because I'm going to be doing a, episode on him anyway, so we'll get to that later. But anyway, scientist man with this child goes over this abandoned place and continues his research. He starts stealing dead bodies and bringing them back to life. But the problem is that he hasn't quite perfected it, which was basically my way of explaining all the furries and all the people with wings. Oh, also, the serum that brought them all back to life also changed their eye color to orange and their hair color to something random. So with that, I was already setting them up to be terrible anime OCs. In fact, all of them were just basically people I just wanted to add cool stuff to, and I didn't want to get rid of them, so I was like, just throw them in this backstory. So, the scientist man, he keeps doing that, and then eventually he creates who we now know as Butch. He didn't have any problems, he didn't have any, weird mutations, aside from his missing eye, which didn't heal for some reason, even though, when you come back to life, this magical thing that he's injecting all these dead people with is supposed to heal their stuff. But, that's not important. Actually, it is really important, but it wasn't important to me, so we're gonna skip over that. And then things happen, and Butch and all the mutants leave, which means that now in this world, there's just this very, small race of mutant people that, live underground, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then he goes on to be a secret agent for some reason. I don't remember. Oh, wait! I just remembered what happened. He was, cleaning in this restaurant, and then, it got robbed, and he did some, ninja shit, and just, beat up the guy who was robbing the place, and a WPC agent happened to be there, and then, 5 more robbers came in, so they all beat them up, and then she's like, hey, you're pretty good, and he's like, oh, thank you. You want to be a secret agent? And he's like, oh, sure. And that's how he became a secret agent at the age of 14 or 15, I think. Now, I know you guys might be thinking, Libby, that backstory was bad, but it wasn't as bad as you're making it out to be. I mean, come on, hold on there, buddy. It's not that simple. His origin story had 2 different versions. The first one is what I call the evil scientist one, and the second one is what I call the evil Butch one. Now, the evil scientist one was the original story. Basically, the way that it worked was this guy was creating these mutants, and he was gonna, take over the world, starting with, this nearby town, right? But he wanted the mutants to not have any mutant stuff on him, which I don't understand. If you're taking over the world, wouldn't it be better to have someone who's a tiger-human hybrid or some shit, rather than just a regular dude whose hair and eye color changed? Anyway, he was creating all these mutants, and that child that he, brought back to life, he was, training them to be an assassin. I think his name was, Ace or something like that, or, I just remember it was an edgy name and it had 3 letters, so take your pick. So anyway, Butch is going through some stuff, or he's moving stuff, he's doing something, and he comes across the scientist's journal. By the way, scientist's name is Joseph. I can't believe I keep forgetting to say that. He comes across Joseph's journal, and it has his evil plans just detailed, so he tells all the mutants, and then they all plan to run away. They start doing that, but then the evil scientist tries to kill Butch outright, and during their struggle, Butch, pushes him off this railing, and the scientist falls, eyeballs first into this electricity thing, and it kills him. But he had injected himself with the serum while he was still alive, and it was dormant in his system, and when he died, it activated, and he came back to life. But his eyeballs were just completely fucked. I guess for the same reason that Butch's one eyeball is completely fucked. And yeah, he put some bandages on it, he got some sharp pointy teeth, and he looks really dirty. And that's the evil scientist one. The other one is the evil Butch one. Basically everything is the same, except the scientist kidnapped a child for reasons that I'm not going to get into right now, and was basically treating her like his daughter instead of like an assassin. Butch makes up finding the journal, like he just makes it up for literally no reason, and he just goes to the mutants and says like, oh, we need to run away, he's gonna kill all of you because you're not perfect like me. So they start running away, and then Joseph doesn't understand what's happening, and then Butch is like, hey, you guys go ahead, I have something to get. And by something to get, he means he has to go murder Joseph. So, he does all that, except the only difference is that like nothing happens to Joseph's eyeballs, but everything goes pretty much the same. He comes back to life and all that, but he doesn't look all scary. Joseph just got a twitch and a stutter to make him more adorable, I guess. I don't know what I was thinking. And yeah, that's how it works. The only reason that version of the backstory even exists is because it was after I decided that Butch was secretly evil, and I was just basically scrambling to try to find something to like connect it to, and I thought like, oh yeah, that'll show him being secretly evil the whole time. Ooh. Now at first I just kind of left that backstory there because I decided that the evil Butch one was the one I was going to go with, and I just wasn't going to do anything with it. But later on I decided that would be how Mark and Rose find out that he was actually a homicidal maniac. They go to investigate some stuff because Joseph is still living at like the abandoned place he found and was doing his experiments in, and they find his journal, and they find out about an evil mutant named 229, I think. Oh, by the way, all the mutants have numbers tattooed on them now, and I know this seems random and out of nowhere, but that's because it is. I literally just decided that on the spot back when I made this version of the story. Anyway, they find the journal, and then they gotta go find out who 229 is because he's dangerous. And then Joseph gets kidnapped by WPC because they're like, oh, this guy is evil, because all this time Butch has been like, oh, this scientist man is evil. But he's not. He's supposed to be just a sweet guy. But Butch hates him for no fucking reason. Anyway, they eventually find out that it's Butch, and then Butch runs up, and he's trying to kill Joseph, and they're like, dude, he's not evil. Why are you trying to kill him? And then he just goes berserk. He just goes completely insane, like, I never cared about any of you, I hate all you guys, I just want to kill this guy, I just want to murder, because I'm crazy like that, I'm a crazy boy. And this was supposed to be some huge, like, scary reveal, because all this time you thought he was their friend, but he wasn't, he was just pretending to be a nice person. And you guys might be thinking, oh, that's it for the backstory. Nope, because the thing is that when Joseph finds Butch, he's already dead, and his eye was already missing, and he had to be somebody before he died, right? So what did I, 12-year-old Libby, do with this fountain of untapped potential that definitely needed to be messed with and shouldn't just be left the fuck alone? Well, you're gonna have to find out next time, because this single character was packed with so much shit that I have to make this into 2 different episodes. Which I'm actually surprised by, because I was worried that this guy wouldn't have enough material to work with, but god damn was I wrong. So I'll come back next week to find out how I fucked up this character even more. I hope you guys liked this episode so far, and you'll come back for the next one. And before you go, don't forget to like, comment, and definitely don't forget to subscribe and join the madness. See ya!